1,000 years ago, Lake Mansarovar and Mount Kailash in the east to Ladakh and Kinnaur in the west. The kings of this dynasty descended from the ancient monarchs of Tibet and were determined to recreate a Buddhist society. They built 108 temples throughout their kingdom. There, Indian pundits and Tibetan Lamas met and together translated the holy Buddhist scriptures from Sanskrit into Tibetan. From here, these holy scriptures were carried throughout Tibet, and it is through these Tibetan texts that Indian Buddhism continues to survive today in India and around the world. The pundits are long forgotten, but the temples and monasteries where they worked and prayed survive today and continue to inspire the living faith. Located on the western borders of the kingdom in Kinnaur and Spiti, the simple temples, built of mud and wood, blend into the dramatic snow-covered mountain landscape. Entering the temple, the visitor is submerged in a Buddhist paradise. Over the millennium, the harsh climate battered the villages. Each summer, the villagers repaired the destruction of the winter. But in 1965 and 1976, two catastrophic earthquakes shook Himachal Pradesh, and the roof of the translator's temple collapsed. The villagers used the little time and materials available to them. They replaced the ancient traditional mud and wood roof of the large translator's temple, but the smaller temple remained badly damaged, with snow and rainwater running down over the precious paintings. In 1996, His Holiness the Dalai Lama visited Nako on the way to Tabo for the Millenium celebration. To honor His Holiness and in respect for the precious creation of their ancestors, the Buddhist committee tried again to repair their temples. Concrete was poured in the courtyard between the four ancient temples, and flower boxes were planted against the outside walls of the temple. The whole was covered with brilliant red paint, including the 900-year-old carved portal, one of the few masterpieces of Kashmiri sculpture to survive.
Water intrusion has been a major problem for deterioration of both the structure and the paintings. The paintings are invaluable. The structure has also suffered extensively in the 1975 earthquake, due to which there are cracks through the walls, and the wooden support structure has shifted from the original, due to which there are many cracks in the walls, and the walls are completely out of alignment. The floor surface inside has been replaced. It was originally wooden beams, wooden planks, and those planks have been removed and replaced with a cement floor. So that's impervious, and all the moisture from this is rising inside the walls. Okay. And because of this capillary action, the painted surface inside has completely disappeared.
Many visitors came to Nako at the time of the millennium, including a camera team from the moving picture company in Delhi, who introduced Nako to the outside world. But since 1989, a team of scholars, art historians and Buddhist specialists have been yearly visiting Himachal and were well known to local villagers and officials. In 1997, the Buddhist Society of Nako, dismayed by the accelerated decay of the temples, asked two Austrian scientists working in collaboration with the Archaeological Survey of India for help.
Hukam Chand asked us for help and for advice what to do. The initiative in the end came from our side. As they told us, many people came here, many people have to do something, and we also met somebody who tried to organize something but apparently didn't succeed.
The Austrians in turn sought advice and help from their Indian friends, and together they all decided to help the villagers in an emergency repair of the worst-hit temple before the next monsoon would certainly bring it down. At the invitation of a resident of Nako, Hukam Chand, and also assisted by his father and other family members from the village of Pu in Kinnaur, the 11-member team crossed the flooded Sutlej in Kinnaur, reached Nako on 14th April 1998, and were welcomed by the villagers and the Buddhist society, all of whom wished to contribute to the successful conservation of the temple. The villagers began with a puja. The head Lama came from nearby Maling village. The Women's Society provided the tea and sweets, and all the villagers who could read and chant the Tibetan scriptures prayed throughout the day. The ladies and girls put on their finery to celebrate with song and dance. It was planting time. Every member of every family in Nako was needed to clear and sow the fields, but the temple also needed labor. So the Pradhan of the village divided Nako into 4 parts, each group contributing labor for the temple in rotation. 2 carpenters and masons came from the local villages. They no longer knew the ancient techniques, but they were anxious to learn. Anuradha had studied the building techniques during her many years' conservation work in Ladakh. She shared this experience with the local craftsmen. These were then inspired by the genius of their ancestors.
To stabilize the structure, we had to put in some sort of props, and to prevent further moisture intrusion, we had to ensure that the roof is watertight. And that we tried to do using the indigenous technology. We tried to improve it a little by providing extra protection over the walls which are painted. That's the second line of defense. And over that we've used the traditional slates from the quarries which they would have originally supplied the village, and we've put in a layer of 1.5 inches of what they call tua, which is a waterproofing clay. It's a clay material which prevents the water from intruding into the mud roof, because it's actually made of ephemeral materials. We've got mud blocks and wood, both of which are susceptible to damage by water.
Now the villagers also knew these ancient techniques. They took the good loams, best of the slate, and even repaired their homes in the ancient way.
Just because we are filmed.
Christian Lutzenitz and Deborah Klimberg-Salter consulted with the masons about the paintings and sculptures, explaining which were the oldest parts and what techniques could be used to stabilize them. Working from dawn to dusk, the roof on the smaller temple was preserved, and the metal roof provided by the villagers in 1976 to the large temple was also stabilized. The winter of 1998 was long and hard. Again, the roofs of the houses leaked and collapsed, but the temple remained dry and safe. Again in 1999, terrible heavy snow or time to secure the paintings and the decoration. Despite another disastrous monsoon, the roofs are holding, but for how long? And the paintings and the sculptures continue to deteriorate. Each season, the villagers ask for more assistance. When will it come?